Okay, good morning one and all. So today we shall learn about requirements based testing. Okay, so it is a popular method with which we can design test cases from your SRS document. Right, so it is very useful for black box testers. So there are 8 to 10 methods available, but this method is usually started by the tester for designing effective test cases. Right, you may get lot of information from this word requirements based testing. Okay, so that means you should completely rely on SRS document, right? You may be knowing that what is an SRS document. So acronym is either we can call it as software requirement specification document or system requirement specification document. Okay, so basically what would be the content of an SRS document? Functionalities, right? So functionalities are expressed by the customer and they are recorded, right? So, and we also classify the requirements into two different categories, right? Or you remember that concept? So we need to classify the requirements. What are the two types? One is called as explicit requirements and another one is called as implicit requirements. So what is the difference between these two categories? Explicit requirements and implicit requirements. So explicit requirements are clearly stated by the customer during the requirements capturing process. Am I right? So clearly expressed by the customer during the requirements analysis process. Implicit requirements, they are not stated by the customer, but you have to provide it in the software. Say for example, you got an order for developing a banking application, right? So implicit requirement may be login page. So it may not be explicitly stated by the customer, but you need to provide login for the banking application. So those type of requirements are coming under this implicit requirement category. And also another vital thing in SRS document is requirement prioritization. Right? Prioritizing the requirements. So requirement prioritize, higher order requirement will be executed first. So it may be 10 or it may be 12. You can give numbers or sometimes you can classify the prioritization into following categories. So you can call them as high prioritized requirements, or you can call them as medium or low priority. Okay, so high priority requirements are implemented first, and then there are a lot of you should give more weightage for high priority requirements, and risk will also be more in high priority requirements. Medium requirements, that is next category of high, and low is you can test the low priority requirements or simply you can ignore them, right? So these are the fundamental things we should know before designing test cases based on requirements based testing. Okay, so as far as requirements based testing is concerned, it's an application. So it is simple lock and key system. Say for example, you are developing a product and you are going to test it, and the application name is lock and key system. So already we know how to open a lock, how to close a lock, right? So our task is to design test cases for this particular application. So this could be the content of your SRS document. It may have the following fields. First one is serial number, second one is requirement identifier, and third column will be description about the requirement, and last one is priority, high, medium, low, right? So it is already decided by the requirement analyst, and you cannot change the priority, right? And then you may be noting that in requirement identifier field, every requirement is started with the letter BR-01, BR-02, like that, and it goes on. As far as this application is concerned, we have 8 requirements. BR stands for black box requirement number 1, right? Requirement number 1 is, this is explicitly stated by the customer, inserting the key number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and turning it clockwise should facilitate locking, right? You are designing an application for this lock and key application, right? This is the first criteria or first requirement mentioned by the customer. The key should be operated only by this key number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If you put any other key, you should not open. So that is why it is coming under high priority category. Second requirement is, this is for locking the key. Second requirement is, you should operate the key in anti-clockwise direction for opening purpose, right? So that is the requirement number 2. Again, it is also considered as high priority requirement. So inserting the key number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and turning it anti-clockwise should facilitate unlocking, right? So these are all 2 high priority requirements. And then third one is, so you should simultaneously lock and you should simultaneously open the key. That is called as third requirement. Again, it is also high priority requirement. Now the remaining 5 requirements, they are coming under medium or low category. See how they are very easily categorized. Now let us see the requirement number 4. No other object can use to lock. Say for example, you can use pin also for locking, right? You should test it. That is the job of the tester. So you have to design test case in such a way that the key is not locked or unlocked by any other object. So it is coming under medium category. And then next one is similarly for unlocking, right? So you should not use any other object for unlocking the key. Again, it is a medium requirement. And then third one, sometimes you may hit with a hammer to open the lock. So ensure that it is not open. Okay, that is why that is the 6th requirement. It is also coming under medium category. The last 2 are coming under low category. So it is mentioning about what could be the size of your lock. So it is mentioned as 150 grams. So it is not much significance. Okay, so that you can design test case or you can skip it also. And then last 8th requirement is, suppose the key is operated by left-handers. So the operation will be totally different. Clockwise and anti-clockwise will be operated in a different manner by a left-hander. Right? That is also one category. So your application should support right-handers as well as the right-hander or as well as the left-handers. Right? So these are the requirements mentioned in the requirement document, and the priority of each requirement is also mentioned. Right? Now let us apply this requirement based testing method and we shall modify this table. Very important step is, we should take this input and we should build a matrix called as requirement traceability matrix. So requirement traceability matrix will have all the existing fields plus few more fields. Now let us see the additional fields that are added in the requirements traceability matrix. So these are all the additional fields. So as usual, we are taking the requirement ID from the previous table. Description also we are taking it from the previous table. Priority number also, priority values also taken from the previous table. And then now these are the extra fields that are added by the tester. So here comes the role of tester. So now as a tester, I will be reading the previous table and I will understand the application. Now I will be writing test scenarios. Test conditions are nothing but test scenarios. And then test case IDs, they are very useful for identifying the test cases. We know that after testing a product, we will be storing all the test cases in a test repository, test databases for future reference. So every test case will have a unique test case ID in addition to the requirement ID. So it always starts with application. So this is lock and key. So I named it as lock 001, first requirement. And then you should also mention about what type of testing this test case can be used. Whether it can be used for unit testing or system testing or integration testing or acceptance testing. So the last field of this table will be unit testing and it is a component testing. So in this case, for testing the first requirement, I need only one test case. Correct? So I have to insert, this is the test case, use case 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is called as one-to-one test case. For some requirements, we may write more than one test cases also. That is nothing but we are applying cardinality. One to one, one to many, many to one, many to many, or sometimes many to none also. So for testing the first requirement, I have to write only one test case, that is called as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 key I have to try, and I should see that whether the key is locking properly or not. So that is the first test case. Second test case also I need only one test case. Now this is I am operating the key in the anti-clockwise direction, so there is no change in phase of testing also. So it is coming under unit testing and also component testing. Now for the third requirement, so you are going to perform lock and unlock both the activities. So I am designing two test cases. Use key 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to lock and another one to unlock. So I am giving two test case ID for testing the third functionalities, log 003, log 004. And then for fifth one, you see there are many test cases needed to test the requirement number 4. So that means I have to design test case in such a way that the key is not opened by any other object. So test case number 1 is I will be using a different key number and see that the key is not open. So the ID for this is log 005, and then second one is hairpin. I am trying hairpin, I am testing your application. Third one is I am using screwdriver. Okay, so these are the three different test cases, right? These are all completely mapping with the requirement number 4, right? I should not use this test case for testing the previous functionalities, right? It may not be correct. So in this case 1, 2, 3. So I am designing 3 test cases for testing the requirement number 4, and this is coming under integration category. Previously the test cases were used for unit testing. Now we are moving towards the next phase called as integration testing. And then similarly for requirement number 5, I am designing 3 test cases. Again this is opposite, locking, unlocking. So again it is also coming under integration testing category. Now we shall see about requirement number 6. That means the lock must not open even when it is hit with a heavy object. So I am trying only one test case for this. I am using stone to break the lock, right? So test case ID will be log 11. And then for testing the requirement number 7, I am using a weigh machine, right? So I have to check that the key weight is 150 grams. So I need a weighing machine. So simply one test case is needed. And then for 8th test case, it is optional. So that is not implemented at all. So by default, we have to give it to a left-hander and see that whether it works properly or not. So there is no need for us to design extra test cases. So requirement number BR06, BR07, they are coming under system testing category. So we started with unit, then we proceed towards integration testing. Now lastly, complete system testing as a whole. So these are all the test cases we have generated for this case study. Now after designing the test cases, we have to execute it. So you should know about how many test cases are passed, how many test cases are failed, and how many defects you found out from your test cases. So this is the final table, you have to build it. So it has the following fields: requirement ID, priority, test cases, and then number of test cases passed, test cases failed, and percentage of passed test cases, how many defects you have found out from your test cases. So all the 8 requirements are tested, and then see for test case requirement number 3, you have executed two test cases, but only one test case got passed. So the pass percentage will be 50. So you are detecting 3 defects, right? Like this, you have to execute all the test cases, and finally you have to found out how many test cases got passed and how many test cases got failed. So you have executed 12 test cases for this application. Out of 12, 10 test cases gives the correct accurate result, and then 2 test cases they fail. That means there is some error in the coding that we need to rectify it, right? Finally, this data can be represented in the form of graph also. So you can say how many defects you have detected during unit testing, and then system testing, unit testing, and then accepted testings as a whole. So the process is very simple. I repeat. So read the SRS document properly, and then build the RTM table, requirement traceability matrix table. So you need to give unique ID for the test cases. You have to write test conditions, and then you should mention about phase of testing, and finally take the test case table, execute it, and finally record the test results, and finally observe how many test cases got passed, how many test cases got failed. Right? So this is all about requirements based